Was love a battlefield? Did medieval women secretly wield power behind embroidered linens and whispered prayers? Could a woman's worth truly be measured by the size of her dowry, or did something more complex simmer beneath the surface of a world obsessed with piety and propriety? Let's rewind. Imagine a Europe choked by the Black Death, a continent grappling with fear, religious fervor, and a desperate need to understand the inexplicable. The air itself felt thick with uncertainty, a miasma of death and decay clinging to the stone walls of castles and the thatched roofs of villages. But amidst this chaos, a strange, insistent current flowed, a burgeoning fascination with the intricacies of human desire, particularly as it related to women. It wasn't a celebration, not exactly, but a meticulous, almost clinical examination of how love, lust, and societal expectations tangled together in the lives of those who lived and breathed beneath the medieval sun. We begin with a man named Manuel Diéz de Calatayud, a scholar obsessed with the minutiae of medieval fashion. He spent years poring over fragments of silk and wool, tracing the evolution of sleeves and bodices, convinced that the clothes women wore held clues to their social standing, their desires, and even their very souls. His research, meticulously documented in a 1996 dissertation, reveals a world where a simple shift in a neckline could signify a rise in status, a clandestine affair, or simply a quiet rebellion against the rigid constraints of her role. Picture it, a wealthy merchant's daughter subtly altering the cut of her gown, a tiny act of defiance woven into the fabric of her existence. Then there's Margaret Scott, a modern-day detective piecing together the puzzle of medieval attire. She argues that the elaborate garments of the era weren't just decorative, they were declarations. A richly embroidered veil wasn't just shielding a woman's face, it was broadcasting her wealth, her piety, and her marital status to the entire village. Consider a noble woman draped in velvet and pearls, her every movement a carefully orchestrated performance designed to attract a suitable husband. It was a game of visual signaling, a complex code understood by all, and a constant reminder of the woman's position within the social hierarchy. But what about the darker side of this fascination? The Book of Vices and Virtues, compiled by W. Nelson Francis, offers a chilling glimpse into the medieval mindset. It's a catalog of sins: adultery, lust, disobedience, categorized with a disturbing lack of judgment. The illustrations, often lurid and grotesque, depict the consequences of transgression with brutal clarity. A woman caught in the act of infidelity might be subjected to public shaming, exile, or even death. The fear of scandal, of disrupting the delicate balance of the social order, was a powerful motivator, shaping the lives of women in ways we can scarcely imagine. Let's delve into the chronicles of John of Reading and anonymous Cantuariensis, two monks scribbling furiously in the late 1340s, documenting the horrors of the Black Death. Their words, preserved in a 1914 edition, paint a vivid picture of a society collapsing under the weight of disease and despair. But even amidst the carnage, there's a strange preoccupation with the motivations behind human behavior. Why did people succumb to panic? Why did they turn to prayer, to superstition, to violence? The chronicles reveal a deep-seated anxiety about the nature of sin and the precariousness of human existence. Then we encounter Scott's observations on medieval fashion, highlighting how clothing wasn't just about warmth or practicality, but a powerful visual language. The sheer volume of information encoded within a woman's attire, her social standing, marital status, piety, is staggering. It's a visual history lesson, meticulously stitched into every seam and embroidered thread. Moving forward, we encounter the voices of scholars wrestling with the complexities of medieval morality. Peter von Meuse and Etienne Dravassa explore the concept of the common good versus conscience in the late Middle Ages, revealing a tension between societal expectations and individual desires. Imagine a noble woman torn between her duty to her family and her own yearning for love. The conflict, played out in hushed whispers and furtive glances, was a constant source of drama and intrigue. The Cartulaire de Bruges, a sprawling collection of documents from a wealthy trading city, offers a fascinating glimpse into the commercial world of the era. L. Gilliatt van Severin's meticulous work reveals the intricate network of trade routes, the ruthless competition between merchants, and the often exploitative relationships between buyers and sellers. But even within this world of profit and loss, there was a subtle undercurrent of social maneuvering, a recognition that relationships, both personal and professional, could be leveraged to gain an advantage. Catherine Kovesi-Killerby investigates the defense of women's clothing by Nicolosa Sanudi, a Renaissance scholar arguing that women's attire was not a sign of vanity but a symbol of their inherent dignity. This argument surprisingly echoes through the Middle Ages, suggesting a persistent struggle to define women's roles and challenge patriarchal assumptions. Across the Channel in Venice, the magistrate was grappling with a different kind of moral dilemma. G. Bistort examines the city's efforts to regulate public behavior, particularly concerning sexuality, highlighting the tension between maintaining order and respecting individual liberty. The city's obsession with cleanliness and decorum reflects a deep-seated anxiety about the potential for corruption and decay. The medieval obsession with virtue and vice is laid bare in Augustine's City of God, where lust is portrayed as a primal force, a dangerous temptation that must be controlled through self-discipline and religious devotion. P.J. Payer's Bridling of Desire explores the various strategies employed by medieval society to suppress sexual impulses, from chastity belts to arranged marriages. It's a world where pleasure was often viewed as a threat to spiritual purity. Consider Ambrose's treatise on virginity, a surprisingly detailed guide to maintaining a pure heart and body. The emphasis on self-control, on denying earthly desires, was a cornerstone of medieval morality. Brun's canons, meticulously codified by the Church, reinforced these principles, prescribing punishments for a wide range of offenses including adultery, fornication, and even excessive laughter. The legal framework surrounding sexuality in the Middle Ages was remarkably complex, shaped by both religious doctrine and secular law. Aquina's Summa Theologica provides a detailed analysis of the moral implications of sexual behavior, outlining a hierarchy of virtues and vices. James Tate's edition of the Chronicles of John of Reading reveals a world where even the most mundane acts, a simple conversation, a shared glance, could be interpreted as evidence of sin or virtue. The legal battles surrounding marriage and infidelity were common, offering a window into the social dynamics of the time. The Let Me Count the Ways analysis by James Brundage demonstrates the sheer number of legal avenues available to enforce marital fidelity, highlighting the importance of maintaining social order. The Malleus Maleficarum, a notorious witch-hunting manual, reveals the lengths to which medieval society went to suppress female sexuality and punish those deemed to be unnatural. But amidst this atmosphere of repression, there were pockets of resistance, moments of defiance. The Wife of Bath's prologue, with its brazen celebration of female sexuality and its critique of male authority, offers a powerful challenge to the prevailing norms. Georg Heinrich Pertz's Monumenta Germaniae Historica reveals a society grappling with the complexities of marriage, divorce, and inheritance. The rise of courtly love, as exemplified by Andreas Capellanus, The Art of Courtly Love, introduced a new dimension to the concept of desire. It's a world of elaborate rituals, secret rendezvous, and idealized romance, but also a world where women were often treated as objects of desire, their agency diminished. The Decameron by Boccaccio provides a more nuanced perspective, depicting a diverse cast of characters engaged in a complex web of relationships, both romantic and platonic. And then there's the world of the troubadours, the wandering poets who celebrated love and chivalry in their songs and poems. John C. Jacobs' translation of Odo of Chariton's Fables reveals a world where morality was often ambiguous, where virtue and vice were intertwined, and where the pursuit of love could lead to both ecstasy and despair. The medieval obsession with cleanliness and hygiene, as explored by Jacquart and Thomaset, reflects a deep-seated anxiety about the spread of disease and the corruption of the body. The wet wood and iron analogies used to explain the difference between male and female sexuality reveal a surprisingly mechanistic understanding of human desire. Pseudo Albertus Magnus, Women's Secrets, offers a disturbing glimpse into the medieval obsession with female anatomy and the perceived dangers of female sexuality. The rise of medical treatises such as Avicenna's Canon reflects a growing interest in the biological basis of human behavior. The prose Salernitan questions provide a fascinating window into the intellectual debates of the era, as theologians and physicians grappled with the moral implications of sexual desire. The late Middle Ages witnessed a growing awareness of social inequality and the exploitation of the poor. The infractions of commercial regulations reveal a society grappling with the challenges of regulating trade and protecting the interests of merchants. The experiences of women in medieval towns, as documented by Ewitts, highlight the limitations of their social and economic opportunities. The persistence of traditional gender roles, despite the rise of new ideas and social movements, is evident in the descriptions of maidservants' work, which reveal the grueling labor that characterized the lives of many women. The coroner's rolls, documenting violent incidents, reveal a society struggling to maintain order and control. The rise of women's art, as evidenced by the work of figures like Joan Cadden and Anna Marie Whale Carr, demonstrates a subtle but persistent challenge to patriarchal assumptions. The Cartulary of Bruges offers a glimpse into the economic and social life of a wealthy trading city. As the Middle Ages drew to a close, the seeds of the Renaissance were being sown, ushering in a new era of artistic and intellectual innovation. But even as new ideas emerged, the medieval preoccupation with love, desire, and morality continued to shape the lives of women in ways that are still being explored today. So, after all this, did love truly conquer all? Or was it merely a carefully constructed illusion, a tool used to maintain social order and perpetuate patriarchal power? The answer, perhaps, lies somewhere in between. The medieval world was a complex and contradictory place where passion and piety, desire and duty often clashed. And it was in this tension, in this struggle to reconcile conflicting values, that the story of medieval women and their love lives truly unfolds. But let's return to the central question: was love a battlefield? And if so, who were the soldiers and what were they fighting for?